You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, Peter Kapar of Petree's Workshop, and Braden Boakes of Little Bug Woodworking. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
Welcome to episode 218 of Another Woodshop podcast, where we remind you that we are exactly 111 days away from Christmas as of the recording of this podcast. So to celebrate the busiest season for all of us makers, we just want to take a moment and wish all of you a merry holiday prepmas, the unholiest, stressful, and often dusty holiday that stretches from September 1st through the end of the year, where all of us jolly makers shut ourselves inside our workshops and toil away making magical gifts for all the good boys and girls, because apparently Santa's elves just can't keep up with demand. So to help you get ahead of the game, and since Santa's elves are busy, we surveyed some Keebler elves and compiled a list of the best practices, and we're passing the knowledge on to you! Woo! You know, those tree elves, they do have some knowledge there.
Ho, 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 hold on. Don't talk to me, I'm busy.
It is the busiest time of the year. You guys ready for the worst season, but also the best season of the year?
It's the most magical time to have anxiety.
I do want to remind everyone listening and the hosts here that we did this to ourselves.
We could have just had a hobby. Like stamp collecting.
I could have just leaned on a cooler once in a while and just listened to Bob's story about his new dog that pees everywhere. But no, I had to start my own business.
Yay, small business.
Well, what he does with his dog is none of my business. But you know what is my business, Dan?
Our patrons?
Yeah.
I believe we got 2 new patrons. And at least one of their names is real. The first one, I'm skeptical, but it's Scotty Scott. Welcome to the Matt Army, Scotty Scott. And I may have said this name last week, but I'm going to say it again just in case. David Mertez. 2 new patrons.
I don't remember that from last week, so I'm assuming it's
I don't remember either, but you know, my memory is awful. Speaking of awful memory, let me bring up the list of the VIP patrons, because there is no way I'm going to remember all those. We have Mike from Woodwork and Weld, Jake Miller from A Sweet Shop. It puts the finish on its skin. That's obviously Alex Adams from Type A Furniture, John Herbolsheimer from Living Laugh Woodworks, Luke Bosworth from LJB Makes, Jared LaPuma from LL Builds, Tyler Booth at Temecula Yard Games, Henry Lutens from Manfreda Wood, Scotty Holland from Elevated Wood Design, Charlie Coons from Stubby K Studio, Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks, Sarah Goldstein with Rosie's Wood Shop, Michael at Gillette Woodworks, the winner, Maker's Way, Jeff.
LFA.
I wonder what that's in regards to. Victor over at Whim Designs, the Nebraska Corn Hub. That is clearly Nick Brum Woodworking.
He's in Iowa.
Yeah, right. Wait a minute. Max and Liz Reed from Reed Design Co. Matt Maynard of Patriotic Pines, Bill Burkle from WTB Woodworking, Jake Conine at Dobby's Craft House. I like turtles. Patrick Gensel.
Oh, okay. I thought Dan's Tourette's was finally kicking in.
Ed Mancini from Mancini Woodworking. Chris at Chris Makes, or Chris Will Make. Sorry, Chris. Scott Shirk from Red Lake Custom Woodworks. Max and Minnie Coons from Stubby K Studio Beasts. Justin Bailey from Campfire Woodworks. And Kyle from Four Nance's Design Co. Those are all of our VIP patrons, and a big thank you to all of our patrons. We love you a long time. If you want to join the Matt Army, you can go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop-podcast.
That is a sexy crowd.
Come get a taste.
That was good.
I like turtles.
He does love turtles.
I heard that Patrick is not turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
He's not. Patrick fed me some what I'm assuming now
Turtle
is
pizza?
poisonous pizza. It's Pennsylvania pizza, and my body just isn't ready for it.
And maybe it's the type of water they use over there.
I kept eating the slices though. I kept saying like it can't really be this bad, and I was like it's got to get better with time. It's got to be one of those things where like you got to keep eating it. So I gave it 10 slices because they were cut in like when you go to a pizza party when you're 5. They're cut into thinner slices, like each slice is 2
on the outer radius.
Yeah, like each slice is 2 slices. It was that. So I ate 10 of them. I gave it an honest try, and it was fine. It was fine until later on my drive home.
Oof.
I couldn't get home fast enough.
Yikes.
No, but it was nice to see Patrick. But also, it's really nice to see our sponsor this week.
Ooh,
It's CNC with me, the brainchild of Hamilton Dilbeck, our good friend. And if you don't know what CNC with me is, it is an all-encompassing platform for CNC enthusiasts, offering weekly projects, expert tutorials, and it has a community on the site where you can connect with other members, brainstorm, get ideas, and figure out how to customize the projects that are available to you on the site. There's tons of projects that Hamilton created it himself, painstakingly toiling over a keyboard and mouse, and made all those available to all of his members. And this month is the very special Make-tember, which is a huge thing. Every year, Hamilton, what he does is he focuses on this month for all things craft fairs, and which translates very directly to what we're going to talk about today, which is prepping for the holiday season, and essentially having really good stock and a variety of items and really cool things. So this month's every Friday video is going to be dedicated to market items and different displays and how to set up your tables. And it's going to be fully focused on being able to set up your first market with confidence and go to those. And then also you can, again, translate all that information to stocking your shop for this holiday season and get yourself ready for a very financially flush end of the year. Am I right?
Rectamundo.
So make sure to go check it out. Go to cncwithme.com and sign up today. Sorry, Brayden, what were you saying?
Go forth and be fruitful.
Fruitful. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Fruit's delicious.
With fruit.
I like my holiday season to be much like my baskets. Fruitful.
Much like my cake. Fruit cake.
Bad
Do
cake.
people actually eat fruitcake?
I don't think so. No, I just assumed fruitcake was one of those things that like you make and then it never goes bad.
And
so you
then
just
it's like
take
a
it out
brick
every
and
year.
you can use it as a weapon.
Or just like it's a display, like faux food in the front of a restaurant, like it's plastic.
I always thought that fruitcake.
Why is it got mold?
I thought fruitcake was just like egging houses and TPing houses. It's like one of those things that you just assume. Oh, and also quicksand, like one of those things you hear about in school, but it's not actually real. Like, it never really
that you worry
happens.
about a lot when you're young.
Based on what my school experience was like, I thought for certain I would have used stop, drop, and roll by now, at least once.
I never want
A dozen times.
I definitely haven't. Maybe
Yeah,
like
I've
tumbling
never had
down
to
a
use
hill
it.
when I was little, and then my mom would get mad because I got grass on my new pants.
No.
Why is there a hill next to church? Whose fault is that? Well, we're going off on tangents here, but yes, whatever we were just talking about, that. I know we went off topic
Fruit
here.
baskets.
Well, guys, before we get into our topic, what's on all your benches? Because I feel like I want to hear what's going on. So let me play this audio that I'm definitely not stalling for, and I'm ready now. Go.
What's
Why is it so low every time?
every
What's on my
single
bench?
time?
I got it. Okay, nailed it. Sorry, I fade out the intro. That's why it's always like low.
You're
Because
just
You forget to fade it back up.
You're just
What?
raw
Yeah.
dog fading.
I faded in post when I edited the intro, but then I faded too late. So it's cutting into where I have to talk. So I have to pre-fade and then I have to like go back up a little bit so this fade sounds natural. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
We need to hire a sound guy to just like sit and just like run all the knobs instead of like tweak the bass and
Like a DJ.
Yeah.
oh, or like the musical band for talk shows. Like we need
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Ain't that
You
right,
think we
Jimmy?
could-
And then he just plays the bass and says something sassy. Yeah.
Do you think we could get John Baptiste?
We could try.
John Baptiste?
A Tribe Called
The worst
The
thing
guy-
they can say is no.
No,
He was the guy that was on the Colbert Show, I think.
Yeah.
The Cold Bear Show.
Yeah, the Cold Bear.
Cold bear. What is best bear in winter? Cold bear.
Cold Bear.
Cold bear. Cold beats Cold Battlestar Galactica. All right, so anyways, once again, what's on your benches? Brayden, what's up with you?
I have a lot going on. That's a lie. I don't have a lot going on. I have a lot of things going on in my heart. Nick,
You should go to the doctor.
it's all cholesterol based.
Good cholesterol?
Dan and Nick came over last weekend, and Nick hauled out a trailer full of the Omabro secret slab stash trademark.
Right.
Yeah, that was a week ago. So he hauled out all those white oak slabs that we got like 2-3 months ago.
The ones that are definitely not dry.
They are definitely not dry.
Are those the potato chips that you unchipped?
Technically, one of them is a potato chip
It's a Pringle.
into 2 separate Pringles.
Which
Yes.
I
The
gotta
other
say,
one-
one of the better chips out there.
The other ones we
fire.
have not resawn Schrodinger's slab. So we don't know if the moisture content is high or not.
We won't know
We're
it's
just
wet
gonna
until
let them
we
sit
open
for
it.
another 15 years, and then we'll do something with them.
Yeah, so they're officially in my shop.
Wait. You're drying them in Brayden's shop? The man that loves heat and humidity? Okay, cool. You're just checking. All right,
Yeah.
thanks. Yep.
Oh, yeah, because a kiln is totally just super chilly.
Yeah, but it's not humid unless they're adding moisture at the end to stabilize it.
Give
It
the
would be
zesty-
humid in there because it's drying and all the
But to
water
remove
vapor's coming
The
out,
water.
and it's probably humid in
Brayden's
there. But
adding water.
That's why I have the hole in the ceiling up into the attic. Like that's what it's
Yeah.
my humid chimney.
Humidor.
While they were there, we rearranged my lumber storage. So now all of my lumber is visible but out of reach without a ladder. So I'll never use any of it again, but it's out of the way. And then I just kind of, while I installed my clamp companion rack, which is super cool. If you need like you should check this out. If you ever do any like panel glue ups, it's like a big panel glue up system that I'm
It's
super
slick.
stoked to try out. And it's all aluminum, like it's lightweight. It's real classy. While I was doing that, I just kind of watched Nick Brim just fight his own urges to deal with how cluttered my shop is. And that's the best part. Like you just got to get him in, lure him in with beer and pizza, and then just like step back and watch as things get rearranged. He found every piece of wood in my shop and rearranged my lumber racks, rearranged my small.
oh yeah, he sorted everything by species.
Yep. He just
in,
went crazy.
Your lumber cart.
And watching him think that he was finished and then take a left turn somewhere and there's like one more piece of wood and then one more piece of wood and then one more piece of wood. It was the highlight of my weekend. So we did that, got some stuff up on the wall, rearranged some stuff, rearranged all my tools, and it feels, ladies, huge out in the shop. So super happy that we got that done.
I would like to point out that I was there, but I didn't do jack. I
We
watched.
Didn't
Dan
need
was-
you to explain. We knew.
Dan was
We know
promoted
your
to
stance.
Back problems. I couldn't do much.
Dan was promoted to a supervisor role.
I went and bought hamburgers. I
That
did
is true. He bought frozen hamburgers and not from the Mark Wahlberg themed hamburger shop inside the Hy-Vee. Wahlburgers?
Oh, is
I
is
didn't.
that
I
a
didn't know
thing
that
you
was a
have there?
thing.
Yeah. It's right next to the deli in our
Is it-
Hy-Vee.
Actually, his
Yeah, it's owned by the
Wahlberg sisters,
Wahlbergs. The Wahlbergs.
The Wall
sisters.
brothers.
the Wahlberg dynasty.
It's actually really good. They have some of just the most straight bussin' tater tots. Like they're classy tots. So, but yeah, so that's what we did with our weekend out there. This week I also finally, like 6 months later, installed I purchased and installed a garage door opener, so now the shop actually can open and close, and I don't have to manually open it like a poor person.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's right. And it's one of those side mount ones. It is silent. I love it. I love
Ooh,
it so
quiet.
much.
I love a quiet
Yeah.
garage door. Nice.
It's
Did you already
so
get it
quiet.
installed?
Yep. Yeah, I did that
Ah.
2 nights ago.
Did you have one there, but you have to just put a new one in, or there was no?
Okay, so I had one, like one of the regular standard center mounted ones. And without going too deep into it, our rental property had a new app based, like a new Chamberlain garage door opener that I had installed, and then it had one from like the straight up 80s. It was a Crusade brand, or
Classic.
like a Conquistador brand. It had a picture of a knight on it, and it was like a 1/8 horsepower or something like that. The other one, actually, that garage door opener destroyed the tailgate on Nick Brim's truck when he took it for scrap. But I swapped that out with the two at our house now when we were flipping it in between tenants because one of the garage door openers didn't work.
Oh, so basically you jacked it because you're like, I don't need to
yeah,
open all 4 doors.
I jacked a pair of garage door openers from here and swapped them for one over there, and then just didn't have one on the shop for the longest time. And so now I have one, and I love it. It's like I said, it's one of the side mount ones that attaches to the bar, totally silent. It lifts. It's super easy. I don't feel like the whole thing's going to just like explode every time I open the shop door. So I got that in. I've got another 150 boxes that need to be laser engraved. Those showed up almost without warning, just suddenly another 2 pallets of boxes. And that's kind of what I've been working on. That's my benchy bench.
Not nice.
PD?
I might need a recommendation from you for a new garage door opener because mine, it sucks.
The Conquistador.
Yeah.
The Conquistador.
That's my gamer tag.
Actually, was that you or another one of my friends? That's actually their gamer tag. No joke.
No, that's not my gamer tag.
Yeah.
I was watching a TikTok though today, and it was like, it had a gal, and it was like, call him by his gamer tag. And it was like a super sexy thing. Then she walks over, she's like,
no, it's not my friend. It's from a TikTok. You're right. No, my friend just has very unhinged gamer handles. Keeps getting banned too. But when they ban your name or ban you for your name, they give you a free reroll of the name, so you don't have to pay for it.
oh, wow.
Nice. Yeah.
So you just, if you want a new one, just change
So
it
like,
to something.
hey, this
completely
violates
unhinged.
it. You can do this. So yeah, he likes to be naughty. Oh wait, is it my turn? I think.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So sorry, baby brain. I have baby brain. So I've been working on something this week. I'm pretty sure I've been in a shop. But the one thing that I've been getting in a groove with is getting in a groove with like having more of a schedule with the baby and Emma now. So like in the evening, like I put Emma and the baby to sleep, and then I like clean the house and get in a shop and start some
Do you
pranks.
lay Emma in bed and tuck her in and everything? Give
Of
her a
course.
little kiss on the forehead. And...
She can
No, it's
confirm
like
that yes.
It's like an armbar thing, just like go to sleep.
No, I
You will
definitely
go to
like.
sleep, or
I
I will
have
put
to
you
tuck
to
her
sleep.
in. She has to get several kisses. If it's not that, then I'm stingy. I wish I was kidding. By guys out there calling me a fruitcake now, but whatever. So yeah, been getting into the groove of things. It's been nice because then I have a couple hours of like absolute silence, but it's like earlier in the night. Usually I'd be in a shop till like 2 a.m. or whatever. So get out there, work on a couple things, get in a print shop, start some new prints, plan some stuff out, and get to clean up the house. So that's been kind of nice. Finally feeling like I'm finding consistent time in the workshop. The other thing I've been trying to do on a couple of recommendations of people, I'm redoing those seats for outdoor use. And I was like, what's a good paint for outdoor use? And 2 people recommended something so out of left field that I wasn't even like thinking about it. And that
Raspberry
was
juice.
farm equipment paint from Tractor Supply. And I'm like, it was one of those like, yeah, but wait, no, that's brilliant. Because it's literally meant to be just outside in the elements, beat up all the time. And I did a little research, and it actually, so the company's Magic with a J, because they can't spell it must be Russian. So it's Magic, and I got just matte black of equipment paint, and you have a reducer that they sell too that you can combine with it and actually spray it. So I was thinking of like, oh, maybe I'll spray it.
Is it an oil base?
It's an
gotta
oil
be
base.
An oil base.
Yeah. Which
The
is
tractor base.
pretty gnarly, and I gotta. Oh, I'm spraying it outside, so I don't have to worry about explosion-proof fans and all that stuff. But I kind of didn't want to run it through the Graco. I was a little worried that this stuff might be kind of gnarly because some people are saying it could be a little grainy, and I'm gonna obviously sift it through or filter it through the filter. But Jake Miller had a brilliant idea. He's like, "Hey, go to Harbor Freight, get this spray gun. It's like the HVLP, like regular like compressor gun." You just hook it up to your compressor, and it's basically meant for like for primers and like thicker paints. Of course, when I went to the store, it wasn't there. But the thing is, it's only $23.
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna
like,
say,
yeah,
isn't that like
I would work.
$25?
He's like, when I used to do big jobs, whatever, we would literally like put that into the cost of the gun. If we couldn't clean it, it went into trash. And I'm like, A, it's a little wasteful. B, brilliant. I honestly, for $23, that's disposable. So of course, I went to Harbor Freight, didn't have it, so I have to go back tomorrow. But that's great. So as soon as I get that, I'm going to try spraying this. And then it got me thinking, like, what about like spraying, like if I have like a metal base or something and I want to put something really, really durable on it, this might be a nice contender for it too. So it might be something that I'll actually use for even indoor use, just knowing that it's absolutely bulletproof, and if it goes on thick enough, if you scratch it, you're not going to go straight to bare metal, which would be nice. So stay tuned for that.
My only question about that whole process. So you said it was spelled with a J. Is the J like before the M?
The J is silent.
Like is it a silent J?
J-M-A-I-K, I think. Magic, I think, is the company.
Oh, we got ourselves a chameleonaire situation here.
Yes. I think it's hold on, let me see. Paint it's Magic with M-A-J-I-C paints. And it's sold at Harbor Freight.
M-A-J-I-K.
I know,
if they're gonna go, off the rails, they might as well go fully off the rails.
They'll fully off the rails.
Paint for a young girl's heart.
But I'm
in
magic.
Oh
Magic, that's what I keep saying, Magic. But I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out. And of course, they had all the, the John Deere green, the like rocket red, but they don't call them that. It's all like equipment colors. So
right. I'm
curious to see how it works out. Stay tuned for that. Aside from that, today I went to Pennsylvania to Makerstock. If you haven't heard of them, it's a website you can buy online, but they also do local pickup. So I was putting in a huge order to try to get a bulk discount. I started talking to them back at Workbench Con.
Yeah, they had samples at Workbench Con, right?
Yeah, they get whoever was at Workbench Con, it's the samples you got. So I ordered 30 sheets of the 5x5 Baltic birch in 1/8 inch and 10 sheets of the 5x5 in 1/4 inch. And it's really nice quality stuff. Like when I picked it up, I was very happy about it. I had them straight line it down the middle. So it's a 30x60 sheet or two 30x60 sheets. And all 80 of them, of those half sheets, fit into my car with no problem. Actually didn't sag low either. I was kind of expecting this thing to like ride real low. No, it was pretty great. So not only that, but I got to see Patrick, who only lives like 20 minutes away. So I got to see his shop. We hung out for a little bit, grabbed some lunch, and they knew him over there. So we kind of got to chatting. I told him about Maker Camp.
I like turtles, Patrick.
I like turtles, Patrick Gensel. Okay. And I got to say, so I went into Patrick's shop today and I was pleasantly surprised and like taken aback a little bit. Like his shop, he does really nice stuff, and he's got his 3D printing laser shop, and then he's got his laser and woodworking garage shop. And it's not like he's like stocked with tools and has all these things. And Patrick does some really nice work, and his shop kind of brought me back to like before I got too much crap in my shop. Because I use all the crap now, but sometimes I just have in case crap. Like in case I need this, I'm gonna keep this stuff around. We all know what that's like. We're like, what? I'm not going to throw out that other route. What if all the routers are set up with different bits? Like I lost the wrenches, so that's what's in there now. So, and I mean this in the nicest way. It's just like wasn't cluttered. It was just like very purpose built setup. Like here's the tools I need. Here's what I'm building. It's some beautiful, premium versions of what Dan makes, the little C tables there. They're big. Oh yeah. But yeah, very impressed with what Patrick has over there. He's got a really cool laser room and 3D printing setup. He also reminds me that like it's okay to stop sometimes and decorate the walls a bit, like make your background a little prettier. Because I have just like bare, dirty walls and holes from when I blew in the insulation. And he's got painted black in the shop, and then in his print shop. He's got
Is it matte
hexagon
black?
walls. It's
Made
very
for-
angry black. It's matte black. Yeah, matte black.
For tractors and such.
Tractor, yeah.
Tractor
But-
Matthew Black.
Reminded me that like, hey, you can spruce up your space a little bit. And
Mine's spruced up and decorated with sawdust.
All
So-
natural.
It's
Yeah.
flair. It's just
Yeah.
flair.
Some people think it's dirty, but no, I purposely do that. I mean,
Not
that's
dirty.
It's the
It's-
aesthetic I like.
Oh no, Dan, just say it's patinaed.
It's patina.
Patina.
You can
It's
never
a
have too
patina.
many pieces of flair.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of patina and flair, Dan, what's on your bench?
I try to get by with the minimum amount of flair because that's the no. What's on my bench? Actually, not a whole lot. I feel like I'm getting caught up, which is a very good feeling.
I mean, you got under 30 orders
my
as of
order
yesterday,
queue-
right?
very briefly was in the teens, which felt great. And then like somebody shared a link to my shop in one of the big Facebook groups, I think the Saw Stop group, and I got a rush of orders. I got like 25 orders for Saw Stop inserts over the last 2 days, so I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I'm getting caught up. Braden's brother has been a tremendous help, and I took him out yesterday.
Took
Yeah,
him out
we
on
went
the town.
Yeah, we
Night
went
of
out to lunch.
dancing?
We got a nice lunch. We didn't dance. There was talk of dancing, but nobody ever danced. I do have some more tables to make, some C tables, but we are getting caught up on tables, which is nice because at one point I had like 15 that I needed to get out. I think that's down to maybe 7 now, which is good. What else? I feel like I did something big this week and I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll remember it.
We'll
like,
be saying something and you'll go, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah, by the way. Yeah, that's how I roll. Oh, yeah. I had Sutton, Braden's brother. I had him rip up a lot of the scrap into 1/8-inch strips, and I started making these striped bow ties.
Ooh,
And I've been putting them in every order for free. So hopefully that'll make people happy.
I have a question. Did you find out what the rogue bag of bow ties was supposed to go to? Like which order?
No, it's
did
right
it
here.
get-
I don't.
So
I
did
don't
you
know.
just make an extra one or
I may have made an extra one.
just
I
sent
hope
out an
that's the
empty
case.
box?
I hope that's the case. I don't think I sent out an empty box. That would be stupid.
That would be funny.
I'll probably get a nasty message. I got walnut instead of oak or something like that.
I got an empty bag.
Yeah.
I got only
Hopefully.
one of this weird color. Well, you didn't even buy it. Oh, how come only one came?
And then as far as Etsy goes, I've been getting some bad reviews lately, which is to be understood because I got so far behind. A lot of people are complaining, that it took forever. So hopefully that'll be a thing of the past. We'll see.
To be fair,
I feel like a lot of weight has been lifted off my shoulders, which is great. To be fair, what?
To be fair, one of those reviews was a local guy
Oh yeah,
who was complaining about shipping times when you told him he could come pick up his order for free. Like, don't
Mhm.
buy the insert. He could get it for free, and all he had to do was show up and not be an a-hole.
Yep.
And you know what? He chose violence. He decided he'd much rather be an a-hole. So
yeah, he
got it
decided to be an
shipped.
a-hole, and yeah,
I
Yeah.
looked, and that was like a 10-day turnaround anyway for something that's technically custom made.
yeah.
So he-
Technically, I don't.
So he
yeah,
ordered
that's
online instead of coming?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Well,
complained?
it's a longer story than that. He asked in the local woodworking guild, the Omaha Woodworkers Guild, if anybody has any connection to like saw stop inserts or something. And somebody tagged me and said, actually, Daniel Dunlap is right here in town and he makes them. And I responded with, yeah, here's my Etsy store. If you just show up, I'll give you one. And then he started trashing my Etsy store in the comments. And I was like, okay, offer rescinded. You get nothing. And then he went and bought one from my Etsy store and then left me a really terrible review.
Do people just not have hobbies?
I don't know, man.
He does. He's woodworking.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, and his review is like full of it's got at least 2 lies in it.
Baloney.
Which makes me mad.
I don't like get that. Like, seriously, people, like what's the point of that? Like, at the end of the day, like, why did you whatever, I don't know. It's maybe he was having a bad day.
I'm gonna try to let it go. It fired me up for a good couple hours yesterday, and I was ready to burn the world down, but I'm good now. I'm relaxed. I'm chill ish.
I'm chill. I'm cool. Relax. I'm cool.
In between then and now, he realized that he had access to this guy's address, and he took care of the problem. So
no, I haven't. I would never do that. I would never do that.
He would never do that. It's just a funny joke.
Yeah, you never want to respond on Facebook with like, "Hey, you know I have your address, right?"
Anyway,
I would have just canceled his order at that point.
See, I would have, but I didn't realize, because I do so many that I package stuff up and slap a label on it. I don't really look at the names anymore. And if I would have noticed, I would have canceled his order, but it slipped by. It is what it is. That's it. That's it for me for now until I remember something else.
Yeah, we'll get you. By the way, didn't you do a tool run or something? Get some random tools this week? Or was that last week?
That was last week. I think.
Was it last week?
Yeah. You and Nick bought those dust collectors.
Yeah, we bought a pair of dust collectors.
Was last week? Okay.
735 and a extension wing table and a cyclone.
Nick and Braden bought those stuff. I just went along for the ride.
The collection. Got all this stuff. Nice. Yeah, I think it was maybe last week.
That Rikon wall-mounted dust collector is shockingly quiet.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
I need something
that, or it's plugged up with.
I need something more powerful than the Buck Tools dust collector I've been using because I have a Y attachment on the dust collector, and it's operating 2 different CNCs, and it's good for one CNC, but it doesn't really have enough power to run dust collection to both CNCs at the same time.
By the way, Jesse was last week, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. None of that was in the show notes, so you guys didn't talk about it.
And that's what's on our bench. Also, I fixed a problem that I had with my CNC. Of my own design. I've reached the size, like the max size that they offer. I've got the 4x4, and I've been getting a lot of chatter, like in the center. The closer to the center you got, I'd get some chatter and like a little bit of almost like a tramming issue, but it was only as far away from the edges as you could get. And finally, I knew what it was, but I reached out to Stone and was like, "Hey, I just make sure I'm not missing something really obvious. It's too big. I need the stiffy, right?" And he's like, "Well, duh." And so now
because you're running a spindle.
Yeah, because I've got a spindle.
The stiffy is the 3rd rail, right?
Yeah, it's a bigger bar too. I think it goes from 30 millimeter bar to a 50 millimeter bar.
I've been calling it the thickie. Huh.
Well, on the Foreman and on the Journeyman, that 48 it's 50 millimeters. So like all of my bars are 50 millimeter bars, and now I've got a third 50 millimeter supporting the Z, because I also have the beefy Z with the spindle, and so I got that installed last night. That was cake.
Yeah, that's
nice.
One thing that I love about those CNCs. I mean, they're easy to set up and tear apart yourself.
Transformers, robots in your shop.
I still think about the fact that Dan one time was like, "I don't know what's wrong. It doesn't work." Like a CNC just did not work. It was just that caked.
Oh yeah.
Like that caked with dust. Like to a point where like none of us even suggested it, because we weren't thinking like, no, he wouldn't have the rails that dirty.
Yeah, it turns out you need dust collection. Dust collection's a very good idea.
It turns
out you can
choice.
He had MDF in the ball screws, not dust.
Yeah.
MDF.
Yes. Dust collection is key.
Yeah, DC is key. DC and me. By
suck so you don't suck. Something like that. Go ahead and put that on a t-shirt.
Put that on a t-shirt. All right, so I guess we should get into our topic.
Let's get into these ho-ho-hos.
Yeah, holiday prep, guys. The Christmas is just around the corner.
Yay.
So a little spoiler, we're actually recording the following day. So it's actually 110 days. And when you guys get this, it'll be 108 days until Christmas. But it's 100 days. That's kind of scary.
This is like we just told them that Santa's not really... Quit. Why are you ruining the surprise with how many days?
It's because it's just every day, every time I talk, it's less.
That's how time works. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. And it's scary, but we wanted to make sure to get ahead of it and help you guys out. Also, honestly, we do this episode for us too, a little bit, so we can reset and be like, oh yeah, we have to do that too. Like, that's right. Or like, oh, I didn't do this yet. So why don't we just kind of get into it? Do you guys have your lists pulled up, right? You guys did all your homework?
Yes.
I'm kidding. Do you have the list I sent you?
I mean, I could retrieve it somehow. Yeah.
I will resend it to you. Not resend it like I'm taking it back.
I have it.
There you go. Boom. Well, let's start off the top. So we got 15 things that we're going to throw at you guys. And this is our holiday prep setup list to set yourself up for success for this year. And number one is simply plan ahead, which is literally what we're doing right now.
Check.
That's what we're trying to do.
It's, sometimes it takes a while. And if you guys are like the three of us, it's hard to sit down and just like think about one thing. We tend to just kind of go all over the place, but sometimes just sitting down and be like, all right, what numbers did I do last year? What was my hottest seller? Like, just kind of like, what do I need to like, and then just make your own list. You can use this list. We're going to provide this list to everyone. It's going to be in the show notes, but I want you to kind of go through this list and make your own list of priorities and things you need to focus on, and maybe check off a couple of things that you're like, haha, I'm stocked on this, so I'm good. I don't need to do it. I don't know why you would do a villain voice like that, but haha. So main thing is plan ahead. Do you guys have anything else to add for plan ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say I've been planning ahead by the simple fact that I have Braden's brother working with me now. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I needed him in the shop, was so that I wasn't drowning even more come the holiday season. Because if I can't get ahead of it now, I'll never get ahead of it once the holiday rush is here. It's like I'm just going to be dead in the water. So that's me planning ahead.
Although technically that was Braden planning ahead.
I mean, yeah.
He just put like he was like
put the bug.
Here's a person. He's gonna help now. But
basically, that's what happened.
He's here to help you, but secretly, he's here to help me, so I don't have to worry about you.
Also, so it's like the more Dan does, the more he gets caught up, the more just free time he has to like maybe come over to your shop and hang out.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan, you forgot what it's like to just not have a queue.
I haven't had an empty order queue in probably over a year.
Yeah. So,
and that's not a flex. It's
it's
more anxiety. It gives me a lot of anxiety.
I think honestly, once you start getting back into teens, so if you like 0 out every day or whatever, and you're like, okay, I can take 2 days off and get that up to 20.
I was in the teens for like 4 hours.
For 3 seconds. It's like I was a millionaire with Bitcoin for 3 seconds.
Oh my God.
Oh God, let's not talk about Bitcoin. I'm so
no.
19 orders. No, 20. Well, the nice thing about planning ahead too is you get to make the checklist. And this is not necessarily the woodworking thing, but the mental health thing. There's a lot of value in checking off boxes. Like it gives you a rush of serotonin. Serotonin? Melatonin? No, serotonin. The good one? What's the good one? Dopamine?
Dopamine definitely is good.
Propane and propane accessories.
Serotonin, I think, is good too.
It gives you the good juice.
The goody juice. As
you're checking off things, it allows you to feel accomplished, and it allows you to build momentum to the rest of the 14 other things on our list. And when you get into the holiday time frame, you don't have time to set yourself up to like just feel good about what's happening because you're up to your neck in it. So just making it to where you can check off boxes and you can feel like you're getting these little successes will help motivate you to keep going.
Well, yeah, Brandon, and that brings keep going. Or Dan?
I was going to say that brings us to our next topic, right? The set clear goals and priorities.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Checklist, baby.
Yeah.
Clear goals, your
clear priorities. I'm awful at this one because I'm very much a reactor. So not in the sense of like I'm a nuclear reactor generating tons of energy. I have a kid. I don't know what energy is anymore. But I react to trends, I react to orders, I react to like, hey, I think this is a good idea that will probably sell right. And I kick myself every single holiday because I'm like, I should have pumped out a whole bunch of blank, or I should have done blank. And by the time I think about it, it's too late. I mean, I missed the Hawk Tuah trend, and I'm so upset about that. I'm not
You were
really.
on the cusp. You could
I'm
have been
not
a
really.
chameleonaire.
I could have, my hat empire was ready to take off, but yeah, I mean, get focused and figure out like what your goals are and write it down so that you can stick with it. Because it's hard when you start to like stray from that. I don't know. Pete, you're a checklist boy.
I love checklists and lists. I love making them, but as far as finishing them, that's a whole different episode. But set some goals for yourself. I think that's good. If you look at, last year you made $1,000 during a holiday season, maybe this year make that 2,000 or 1,500 or 10,000, whatever it might be. Set some goals, or if you're mainly focusing on Etsy, you might want to just be like, okay, I got 50 sales last year. I want to get 200 sales. Or I have 10 items in my shop. I want to have 15. What else can I do? And with that, focus on what is a priority. And it's really hard to do this because if you've had success in any part of the business at any point, it's hard to say no and let's say deactivate that listing or not focus on it anymore. Like, I mean, Dan, you can, I mean, we can all relate to this. Like, if you have something that sells once in a while, like, well, I don't want to deactivate the listing, but also maybe during the holiday season, Dan doesn't need another bed order.
I was just gonna say I deactivated the bed listings because
that's
they
not a
take
priority.
too long, and I can't balance the inserts and the bow ties and everything else with the beds. They're just I don't have a big enough shop and I don't have enough help.
I mean, the way I look at it, Dan, like
in the future, maybe
in 3 days, you can make as much as that bed was gonna take, make you, but the bed's gonna take you way more work.
Right.
So,
and the bed selling the beds do more harm than good, because as I've learned, when you fall behind, Etsy is less likely to push your listings to other people because their algorithm is like, oh, this guy, this person, this shop can't keep up. So we're not gonna promote his products, So, and they say that right in the dashboard. Like I have a little warning that says, hey, there's something keeping you from being seen more.
I was literally about to bring that up. Yeah. So what Etsy's doing is on certain items
are risk lowering your search visibility. Yeah. So.
Essentially, and it's not on all your stuff, but it has to kind of like work against you in some way. So I have, I bet you, Dan, if you click that, it's going to say that a bunch of Printful stuff, possibly. So like Printful is the apparel fulfillment that we use, and for some of the items, the fulfillment time is like over a week. Yeah. And Etsy's just says, like, it doesn't like that, So
my two factors are I'm not turning around my orders fast enough, which hopefully I'm getting that taken care of.
Getting there.
And then it also says some of my listings need more and better photos, which I feel like is an attack.
Yeah, that's another one they didn't mention.
I've got that one. I've got that and shipping price on one.
Yeah. And we have mentioned in the past, like whatever Etsy Daddy says, you Etsy Daddy do. I always joke around. So,
as a matter of fact,
there's messages. Look at them.
Speaking of whatever Etsy Daddy says, Etsy has a new sale thing. So like when you go to run a sale or whatever, they have a new thing that you can do. You can bundle stuff. So like if somebody buys more than 3 items, you can give them a bigger discount.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys seen that. So check that out. I activated that and it's already garnered me like 3 or 4 sales, and that was like 3 days ago. So, and bigger sales, which is nice. So like somebody came through and bought like 3 or 4 inserts. Somebody came through and bought a charcuterie board, 3 bottle openers.
Ooh.
So yeah, check that out.
Love it. Well, the next one is one of my favorites, and that is notify friends and family and plan around events. I cannot stress this one enough. You need to set really clear. Oh, you got the Dan.
Encourage bigger orders.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
So, and we're gonna get into sales and stuff too in our list.
Yeah.
that
I
Dan
probably should've
definitely
waited,
read.
but-
It's okay. But this one I love is notify friends and family, set boundaries with your family and friends, or just tell them like, hey, like me right now, like I've got a newborn, so I need to work with them and be like, hey, I am gonna need to get this many hours in a shop per day, per week, or whatever. We need to try to fulfill some of this stuff, or we need to work on some things to so maybe you can help, or she can handle some of the administrative stuff or whatever. Like we need to plan ahead, and I need to set some boundaries that like I'm going to be busier. And unfortunately, a lot of us, this is very much a family oriented part of the year, and some family members just might not realize. And we talk about this all the time. Those family members that are like, hey, how's your little woodworking business doing? Or how's your little 3D printing thing? How's your little, shut up, big energy only, shut those people down and just tell them like, oh, my big business is doing great. And I'm actually going to be very busy this season. So if I don't answer all your messages, please don't be offended. Or so it's like, oh, well, we throw in a Halloween party, 2 weeks before Christmas, or I'm sorry, a Christmas party 2 weeks before Christmas. Just tell them I may not be able to make it. I will let you know. Just like set your boundaries. Make sure that your family doesn't try to make you feel bad late November because you've been kind of MIA for a little bit, but you're bringing in a huge amount of income.
Right. And luckily I've been doing this long enough that most of my friends and family just kind of expect that from me around this time of year too. So that's nice.
Yeah.
After a while, they just, oh yeah, Dan's doing his thing. We won't see him until March.
Dan stuff.
Got it.
And part of that whole notifying friends and family is, so number 4 is deadlines, setting deadlines. Like I have a hard deadline of I will not take a custom order past like end of October. Basically October is it. And like after that, I will not take a custom cutting board or anything like that. I will only sell what I have. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. I can do it after the holidays. Or if I find some time, I'll let you know. Set those deadlines, but not just, don't like say like, oh, I might be able to work it in, or maybe, and just keep stacking them. And anytime someone asks you for something custom, look at your queue. If you have 5 custom things and one of them is kind of big, don't say that, it can squeeze in a cutting board, because you're not. It might be really hard.
I've been turning down custom orders for months now. I've been pushing them off on Braden. I don't know if he's getting them, but I'm telling people to email him or call him. I can't do it.
And sometimes it hurts to like shut down your friends
stinks.
Or it is, especially when it's friends or family or friends that are like, I have some friends that are starting a Argentinian barbecue business right now. My good friend Richard.
Bless you. What?
Argentinian barbecue. It's very like open pit grilling, like,
Why did I immediately think of cooking llamas?
There might be llamas, but
alpaca.
So they're doing these big events, and they want a lot of like boards and tabletop to be refinished and all this stuff. And they're like, so we want this. So like, this might be crazy, but can you, like, what could you do? Or could you do it in 20 days? He literally asked me, and I without even thinking, I said, there's no way I can do that. I didn't even think. I didn't want to play the game or like, well, I'd love the business, but I can't do that. I had to just rip the Band-Aid off immediately and be like, no. And I told him, like, maybe if we worked on this one thing, I can probably get it done. And this isn't even like the holiday season yet. This is just me with a baby, So when you get into the end of the year, don't just say yes because you want the work, because you're going to be miserable leading up to Christmas. And we've all told the horror stories of like refinishing, right? Like we're making food for Christmas dinner or something, but like we also just have to go apply finish real quick because I have an order that I have to deliver on the 26th to someone that has a Christmas party the day after. I've done that. It's miserable.
Been there, done that.
We've talked about like manufacturing and building your business around essentially being like a small scale manufacturing business. And that's what a lot of us become during the holidays, is like, we're small scale manufacturing. Like we are pumping out gifts. And you've got to kind of think about the fact that every time you bring on something that you've never done before, something that's out of like it's off plan, something that has to be customized, you're essentially having to take your entire manufacturing floor, which is your shop, and retool for something new. And
right.
on a large scale, retooling is like a shut down the shop, like shut down the manufacturing plant and change everything. And so, I mean, that's essentially what you're doing, Dan.
Well, I was going to say, so taking on a new custom item is to the detriment of the other things that you sell and make you money.
Yep.
So is it really worth it in the end?
And that's
when it's all said and done, like You're hurting yourself more than anything.
It's I mean, that's where like FU prices, politely and respectfully, FU prices come into play. Like, hey, if you want me to retool, you're gonna pay for me to retool because I have to I have to essentially shut down production. So, you know, it can be worth it, but it needs to be like worth it.
This isn't necessarily the time of the year to be trying a lot of new things. Like, yes, if it's like laser jobs or little CNC projects or whatever, not a new custom piece of furniture or whatever, because that might be your bread and butter. I don't want to shut that down. But for most of us right now, it's a lot of gift, quick, smaller grab items. And that doesn't necessarily mean cheap or inexpensive. It just means a little less work than a full-blown piece of furniture because we're not putting a bed frame under the tree for most people.
There's a saying in the corporate world that kind of applies, but don't let somebody else's poor planning become your emergency.
Ooh, sexy. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Braden, you want to do the next one?
Yeah. Plan ahead. Nope, that's not right. Deadlines. Number 4, deadlines.
We just talked about deadlines.
5, don't forget how I am clearly setting goals and priorities. I'm reviewing everything. You know, just like the fallback.
It's all good. It's all good.
Don't forget Halloween and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so
those are important.
You know, those are holidays that have their own forms of
remember all the holidays. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, listen, there's Hanukkah, there's Kwanzaa, there's New Year's, there's whatever. Like there's a lot of different holidays in there.
Leprechaun's Day.
That is one as well, definitely. And depending on what your market is, you know, that might be your bread and butter. Maybe there's some, you know, spooky people out there that maybe Halloween is their Christmas. Like they make all their money on Halloween and then they just coast with their feet up in the air, sipping on, you know, apple cider or whatever.
There's a weirdly large number of people that like spooky season is their season. Like who cares about, you know, Santa Claus? Like forget that. We want the skeletons. We want the bats. I do not want the bats, especially not in my shop.
It's spooky.
But yeah,
Speaking from experience, I think.
I am speaking from from recent and glaring experience. I've yet to recover, but
and you know what I will do is actually this kind of came out of nowhere in my brain, but Etsy has a 2024 holiday hub. So first of all, Etsy has a seller handbook that is available on their site, especially if you're on there. And I know we're kind of positioning this mostly towards Etsy, but there's a lot of stuff you can do.
I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, but look at the stuff here and you can actually apply it to whether you're doing a market or you're doing Shopify or anything else, or even Facebook Marketplace sales. So the Holiday Hub actually lists like all the different holidays you might want to consider. And it has like goals starting from August of like every week or every month what you should be thinking about. And they keep adding new stuff with it as things are going through. So they're in week 4 now. And there's a lot of good resources in there. And, you know, again, think about the different holidays because that might be like, I always forget about Halloween. I'm always like, it's not like my favorite holiday, but like, Peter, it doesn't matter what you like. What does your customer like? So maybe Halloween is the one you could really be killing it in. So you never know. I highly recommend looking at and, you know, doing some research on all the other ones.
It could also be like you're off holiday. That could be one of the holidays that if you do want to try a new product, test it out because you have, you know, maybe you have a little bit more wiggle room. You know, maybe you try a themed Halloween piece and then you can pivot that into a themed Thanksgiving piece or a Christmas piece.
Yeah. All right, next one, number 6. Stock up on materials. Especially, yeah, I just dropped $1,500 on Baltic birch today. Well, I paid it this week, but like that is insane. That is a lot. But A, it's cost of material. B, I got 40 sheets of 5x5. That's like pretty expensive. It was averaging about the like $36 for the 1/8 inch and like 50 or 60, I think $60 for the 1/4 inch. Stuff's not cheap, but this is my bread and butter for the laser. If you're, some of you guys remember like a year and a half ago, I got that crazy deal where like the lumberyard didn't even know they had 1/8 inch and they sold it to me for a steel. That steel was still $27 a sheet. But like now they sell it for 40 a sheet. So, you know, I'm still trying to save money wherever I can. So stock up on your materials. Sometimes it might seem scary to buy too much early on, but if you know that you like, yeah, I do all these like pine lanterns or whatever that I CNC out and put together for Halloween. If you know you're doing a lot of them, just stock up with the material now. Get it in your house, because you're not going to want to go to a store in November and then haul that stuff, especially when it gets colder. Hauling lumber in the cold kind of really sucks.
Yeah, agreed.
Living in the cold and anything involving the cold kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Anything else on stocking up on materials?
Well, the thing about that is, like, if you can buy stuff in bulk, there's oftentimes you can get a discount when you buy stuff in bulk.
Absolutely.
So do that as much as you can. I mean, if you can save yourself money, why not?
This is sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think buying your materials can be it can fall under the plan ahead, really. I mean, that's all part of the plan ahead process.
Absolutely. I mean, we're listing all this stuff just so it's like, oh, that's right. Yeah. Ironically, plan ahead is just such a throwaway thing, because it's like all of this is the plan ahead. This is all the things to plan ahead on.
Yeah, actually, that's correct.
Yeah.
All right, we can wrap this up. We're done.
Step 1, listen to this podcast. There you go. You're already
Step 2,
already planning.
Profit. So, well, the next one is, so it's part of stocking up on materials, but some of those materials are for shipping or packaging things, or you need bags for markets and things like that. It's stocking up on all the things you need to present your final thing. And one of the biggest things, if you're shipping, especially through Etsy or your site, or even just your word of mouth, you figuring out your shipping, fulfillment. Remember that shipping goes up around the holidays. So if you are really nerdy with the spreadsheets, you might want to account for all of that in your calculations of how much you're making on every item. It's not huge, but you're, like, I definitely spend hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000+ more per year in like mid-October through February that like goes up. So it does add up eventually if you ship a lot of stuff. So make sure to figure out your shipping. If you have any questions about that, reach out to any one of us. Most of us use Pirate Ship or ship through Etsy's integrated system. Both great choices. There's Ship Nerd out there. Shippo, I think, is another one. So there's a lot of cool options. And
Ship your pants.
That's a JCPenney.
My favorite one.
But whatever you do not ever go ship from a UPS, a FedEx, or a USPS store.
Yet another attack.
Don't do it.
Never do it, because they'll charge you full price. And when you use these websites, you're getting like partner pricing.
Yeah, get yourself a scale and do all the packaging yourself and weighing and measuring and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it'll save you a fortune, a small fortune.
Nothing's worse than having the project done and being like, oh, I've got to get this out. Like the ship by date is tomorrow, so I've got to drop it off. And then realizing you've got the wrong size packaging. And that's where I love doing custom stuff, but that's where, like, during the holiday time, standardizing your products really helps, because you're only getting 2 types of boxes, not every single shape. You're not, I hate cutting a box to its own custom size and getting the straight edge, and like now it's a janky looking box. Like,
just doesn't look clean either. I can never get it perfect.
There's so much that goes into like quality packaging that will affect your future sales or just your customer satisfaction too. And so panicking and buying something close enough from Walmart at 11 o'clock at night, don't do that. Come on, you're better than that.
Yeah.
First impressions are a big deal. And the first impression that your customer get is the package when it arrives.
You never get a third chance to make a second impression the first time.
Something like that.
Yeah. And listen, sometimes it'll mean that maybe the item you sell becomes slightly smaller or bigger based on the box you can get at a really great price. Because sometimes there's like an odd size that's the companies are just like trying to get rid of, and you can get it really cheap. But the popular size is the one that's just like way too expensive. But keep in mind, going too big on a box too, you're putting out a lot of packing material and it's more weight, and that starts adding up. So little things like that you start figuring out. But I've made like signs, like CNC signs back in the day, that I actually ended up cutting by like 1/2 inch so that they would fit a box that I can get cheaper that I used to use for 3D printing parts things. So I was like, oh, well, it's 1/2 inch shorter now and doesn't really change the listing that much. And, you know, I'm saving on boxes. So that's great.
I recently changed the dimension of one of my tables that I saw a lot by an eighth of an inch because it wasn't fitting in the box that I already had.
Right
And
on.
luckily, it's so minimal. Like I felt like I didn't have to update the listing.
There's
Yeah.
something nice. There's something nice about cutting boards too, because those are easy to change the size of, and you can get those really nice, like open from the front and then like open it up, and it's a really good experience. I've been looking at, who is it? Samara Table Company. I don't know what their names are, but they do cutting boards for like realtor gifts, and like their packaging is phenomenal. Like I'm constantly trying to figure out how to do their packaging because it is an experience. Like literally right on the front, it says you're gonna want to record this.
Oh, that's cocky. I like
Yeah,
it.
it seems to work. So
Wait till you see this stuff.
buckle up, Buttercup.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Okay, so the next one is number 8, and it is research trends and popular items for the holidays. You can use things like eRank, TikTok, Pinterest, you know, all the platforms. Trends is big, and it's constantly changing.
Yeah, so you want to try to get resources wherever you can. A lot of times we just kind of go into it with like, what do I like? What do I want to make? You know, but sometimes it is worth seeing what is hot. eRank is a really good one. I've been using it a bunch for my stuff. So it literally will look at your listing and tell you if you're doing well or not. You can also research trends and be like, Halloween sweatshirts and see like where that's ranking. And if there's not a lot of people selling that item, you can actually get into that niche and potentially make some good money. You know, TikTok, you oftentimes will see trends, and that's a great resource to, if you go into the hashtags, there's a lot of Etsy related items where people talk about what's selling well, what's good. And again, take it with a grain of salt. You always want to do your research as well. Pinterest is just a great place to get inspired and, you know, kind of get some inspiration. Like, oh, that's cool. Or I can make that. Like, you know, maybe this is CNC, but maybe I can laser cut it instead. And like try to work out your own version of things that you find exciting and cool. And that seemed to be trending on Pinterest as well. And the last one is the Etsy holiday report, which again, I'll link it in the show notes as well. It's a great place to just kind of get yourself started and see what they think is important. And if you are signed up for the Etsy emails, don't ignore the emails you're getting from them because there's a lot of good resources this time of the year where they're literally guiding you like, hey, here's what's working. Hey, here's what you need to start doing so you're visible better. You know, so it's really important to look through that stuff because there's a lot of valuable information there.
Yeah, I mean, don't sleep on Oprah's top gifts of 2024 list either.
You never know.
You get a cutting board, and you get a cutting board, and you get nothing. You were naughty.
You get a ZCI and you get a ZCI. You never know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't usually do much of that because I keep busy enough with the things that I have that I don't worry about trends so much.
Look at this big deal. He's his own trendsetter.
Yeah, I set my own trends. But yeah, I mean, if I was holiday dependent on my listings, I would definitely look at trends, and I think TikTok is a great example. More and more people use TikTok as a search engine. I feel like, so definitely check that out. Follow the hashtags.
Yeah,
follow the hash.
Correct.
Dan, you want to take the next one because I feel like this is right up your wheelhouse.
Where
Number
are we
9.
at? Number 9. Set up processes, efficiency, and plan out batching of items. Yes. I try to plan out batching of items as much as I can, just because it takes longer to change the CNC over to cut something else than it's worth it. So I'll go through my orders, and I have a sheet that I haven't used it in a while, but I probably need to get it back out where I can just mark down exactly what I need every morning. And then I'll be like, okay, I need to make so many of these DeWalt inserts, even though like they're farther down in my order queue. If I can batch them all out at once, I can kind of do them in groups. I get more done that way. And then that goes back to the making a checklist. So I have that fancy little checklist and I can mark things off, and it makes me feel good. So yeah, if you can bundle stuff so you can do multiple things at once. I think that's a huge time saver.
I think that's where
Efficiency.
buying stuff in bulk ahead of time, and then don't just think of just material, like the stuff you need, the finish, the glue, the whatever. You never want to run out in the middle of a job.
Oh no,
It's very frustrating, especially.
I always have double. So like if I just open a container of lacquer, like a gallon bucket, if I just opened it, I will go buy another one just so I know it's there ready to go when I get through with the one that I just opened. So
Like right then, he won't even
just
close
drops
that
it.
lacquer jar. He just sets it off to the side. He's like, I gotta go.
yeah.
Efficiency, guys. Peak
Or
efficiency.
I just replaced my bandsaw blade with a brand new one, and I immediately ordered a new one because I know I'm going to need it.
A new bandsaw? You can get just the blade, Dan.
I said blade, didn't I?
It's like when
I
a
did say blade,
TV
right?
remote dies, he just gets a new one.
New TV.
Definitely batch out stuff if you can. Sorry, my wife just scared me. But batch out stuff where you can, and sometimes it's a part of a thing for a thing. You know, you don't necessarily are doing a complete item. Sometimes they're like, oh, I have all these scraps. I'm gonna CNC all these things into them, but I still have to chop them down to size. I gotta sand them. I gotta do whatever. I don't have the orders for that right now, but they're pre-cut. They're just chilling there. I'm good to go. So then you can kind of grab from the rough blanks. Like when I do the ornaments for the holidays, like if I'm set up for the walnut sheets, which are like 12 by 12, I'm going to set up for that. And I'm going to do all the walnut cuts first, more than I need. So like what I need for orders, and an extra, maybe like 3 or something. And then I change over to the other material and then stock up on that. And I always end up with a couple of like uneven stacks. So like I have 3 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these, because depending on how much material was left. But it's good to have that, because a lot of times I can just go, oh yeah, there we go. Let's put these together, glue them up, and then they can go out instead of you having to start the laser, get everything ready, make sure you have the materials. So it's a nice way to cut down on your time when you're sending stuff out.
I do everything that I can to keep everything the same. So I can just put a piece into the CNC and hit go because it's already set up and I know everything's good to go. Just boom, go, and walk away and do something else.
Well,
All
it's like when you're talking about setting boundaries too. I mean, again, retooling your shop and getting everything going again. But Justin Bailey, he talked about this, and not holiday related, but I mean, he's said before, if he's doing 1 cutting board, he's doing like 10 cutting boards because it takes just as much time. So you might as well knock them out and just have them sitting there. Especially
with all the end grain that he does, it's a setup to just, you can't do an end grain in one day. You can, but like dangerous.
Come on.
Like
come on.
you really would, like, you do your milling day, you do your cutting to size and glue up days, and then you chop those up. So like it's great to set up that process, and that's where the boundaries really. You're right. That's when it's great, because you can be like, look at my shop. I can't even run my table saw right now. Today, table saw is table.
You need a gift. You need a gift. These are your options.
Yeah. And that's honestly the biggest thing with batching out, is like sometimes one of your tools becomes a table for the day and you can't run your CNC. That's your sorting space or whatever.
One of my goals for next year, and I know this is a little early for this, but one of my goals for next year is that I will be so caught up that I can just batch out and stock inventory.
Ooh.
So that people aren't waiting for days and days to get their product. I can just pull it.
I think you will
order comes in.
be there this year.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I think he could get there this year. Look at Dan. Throwback to number 2. He's already taking advantage of all this advice that we've got, and he's setting clear goals and priorities.
Listen, your new
So
help
proud.
is not into surfing, and he doesn't go to high school, so you're set. What else is he going to do with his time?
And he already knows how to glue up a cutting board.
He does. He
He's
does.
done free labor at Braden's shop.
Hey, I think I fed him. Maybe.
Well, all right, so the next one is leveraging social media, online marketing. There's obviously, you can run ads and stuff through Etsy. You can, if you have your own website, you can also do Google AdSense, and there's a lot of different ways to market. But at the bare bones way of marketing is posting it on your social media, and we're all pretty bad about this. We'll have something new, and then sometimes we'll list it as like, oh, hey, it's a new item. Here it is. And then half the time we just kind of don't, we forget, or we're busy or whatever. So you want to make sure that you're showing what you're working on. Sometimes it just feels like, it's silly, or this is like just a different version of the other thing. But it's really good to show off every part of it, because You never know when that one person's like, oh, I've been waiting for you to do one like that. Or, oh, you're finally on my version of the DeWalt saw. So here, I'll order the saw stop one and then leave you a bad review. But
and I feel like I'm awful at that because all the things that I do, I feel like they're very boring and nobody wants to see that. But there are probably people out there who want to see that. Plus, it keeps your name in front of people and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, he does do that stuff. Now that I'm thinking about it, I need a ZCI or I need a push stick or I need some bow ties. So
I need
to keep your name in front of people. Otherwise, they will forget you in a heartbeat.
I need a super in-depth custom piece. No.
Go to Braden.
Smack.
Busy.
I mean, listen, we talk about this all the time. What we do, get the button ready, is so cool. Like everything we do, we run robots to cut wood, and then before we know it, it's like a finished product. Like this is freaking amazing. We run lasers, like
laser beams.
We're so numb to it already that we just don't think about it. But this is freaking mind blowing stuff, and there's always someone that is like, "Wow, it's so cool that you do that," and you're like, "It's whatever." It's like we've all done this. We've all downplayed someone cheering us on.
Or we do the you should see my buddies, and we same thing. We downplay us.
Comparison
that guy's got
is
a bigger
the
one.
theft of joy. Emma's been beating that into my head lately, and it's sticking. So don't compare yourself to others. What you do is amazing. If you get a compliment, take it. And honestly, don't think that you're gonna. How many times do you guys don't want to post something because you think you'll annoy your audience too?
Yeah,
like I can't. Yeah. I don't want to do this again. It's just I feel like all I've been posting is
all he does is post ZCI content. This is boring.
But it's got to get posted. This is how we market.
And if not that, like what exactly is social media for? If not sharing messages, like it's literally what it's for. We just think that we're hawking stuff, and so we don't want to do it. But it's like a corner pillar, like a pillar of what the whole point is of social media. It's communicating.
Dan, and you talked about. Oh, if you got some more to add,
I was going to say the other part of that. I don't know where you were going, but the other part of that was let's see, online marketing, right? Yeah, online marketing. Don't sleep on that. I mean, I spend $20 a day on Etsy marketing.
I'm at like $4 a day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it. It's worth every penny. So you kind of get out of it what you put into it. So,
and if your listing's not getting as much traction, you're not actually getting charge the full amount if Etsy doesn't serve it enough. If they serve it to a couple people, they kind of do a little taste, and then if it's selling, it'll actually get sent out more. But if it's maybe not doing well that day, maybe you only use $2 of the 20.
Yeah, I don't always hit the $20. Yeah. It varies, but the maximum is $20.
Exactly. So it's not like you're losing 20 a day. But also it pays dividends. It does usually.
It does.
But I will say this because people have reached out to me about this. Dan, I'm pretty sure you've heard this too. If you have no traction on your shop, just doing online marketing is not going to bring magical sales to you. You want to do some of the other stuff we're talking about. You want to be sending some business there. You want to have some kind of established clientele. Just hitting the ground, putting 5 listings up, and then doing $20 a day doesn't necessarily mean you will get traction because your store doesn't have that Etsy credit built up yet.
That juice.
And to be perfectly honest, your products have to be appealing. I mean, if they're not appealing, people aren't going to buy them, period.
Absolutely. All right. Dan, you want to talk about number 11?
Yes, I've been prepping for this. Set up an abandoned cart or a thank you discount. Those are huge for me. Mm-hmm. Every one of my orders gets this little business card that goes into the order. It says, thank you. Here's a code for 10% off your next order. I have the abandoned cart. I've been running it since January 28th.
Dan, what is the abandoned cart sale?
So like if somebody puts an item in their cart and then doesn't finish out the checkout process, so I have this set up. Etsy will automatically send out an email for me, and it'll say something along the lines, we see you never finished. Here's the little incentive. You'll get an extra 15% off or whatever it is. So I brought up my statistics on that. I've been running it since January 28th, 2023. I've sent out 1,834 emails. It's been used 311 times for $17,200 in revenue.
That's
It's worth it. Do it.
Worth it.
And you don't have to do anything. Etsy will do everything for you. And I'm sure Shopify probably has the same thing. And you could probably set the same thing up on your own website somehow.
Shopify definitely does it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
It's super good to have. So yeah, definitely do that.
And now there's more options for these sales too. So like Dan was mentioning, the bulk discount sales. There's also something that is like a make an offer thing that they added too.
I've never done that one
because we kind of do like continuous creation of the items. I feel like if you throw up some stuff, like if you have cutting boards or whatever, and maybe some of them aren't selling, you could turn on the, make me an offer. And as long as it's not unreasonable, you'd be like, you know what? Instead of 200, 150, sure. Boom. Just to try to move inventory. So it's all good ways to
that.
maybe for things that don't sell, but not for items that you're trying to still establish or you're making regularly. You don't need that kind of stuff.
No. I'm not going to turn that on for items that sell well on their own. No way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a good point about the cutting boards and stuff that aren't moving. The one-offs.
The one-offs, yeah. The one-offs that are sitting that are fully made. You know. Well, what else is fully made?
That's
our
right.
Patrons? I was waiting for Dan to say our patrons. No. The items that are then wrapped and maybe personalized and gift wrapped. That's number 12. It's just personalization and gift wrapping. Some people do offer it. Personalization is pretty easy for a lot of us that have lasers or CNCs. Some people will hand burn, like people still do this and it's totally acceptable. Well, they hand burn someone's name into it, or they use some kind of like the router templates that Rockler sells, where you can like make somebody's name and then write it out with a router. There's a lot of different ways to offer personalization, from type of wood to the color of the stain or the name on something, or just putting a personalized message inside, or offering gift wrapping. Some people will be big into that.
I would never.
For me, it's a little tough. However, for cutting boards, I do a full wrap job and whatever, and put in care instructions.
For an extra fee, I will not gift wrap it, because if I gift wrap it, it'll look awful.
So, that's just two ideas of how you can try to essentially do an add-on. So and these aren't free things. Usually personalization and gift wrapping, that's an additional thing you have to add on. Sometimes you can do it as a drop down on your either a Shopify or an Etsy. Or you can offer it to someone and be like, hey, if you want this personalized, it's an extra $10.
That's
word of mouth.
That's one of the great things about having a smaller laser, that you could easily put a product into the laser and personalize it real fast.
Or the ones you can put onto the product too. If it's like a bigger item or kind of an oblong size that you can't quite fit into a laser,
I offer that with my push sticks. I can do personalized push sticks. Like if somebody wants their logo on them, I can do that.
Yeah, and it's
good idea.
Some people, what they'll do is they'll actually make a separate item in the shop that is just gift wrapping or just personalization of blank. So you can do like an add-on, but you have to be very specific, because sometimes people will be like, cutting board personalization, $5, and they're like, where's my cutting board? You didn't buy that. It's a companion item.
Did you really think you bought a cutting board for $5?
I mean, listen, we've all gotten those messages.
Listen, I tried to buy a zero clearance insert, and I never got the miter saw that was supposed to come with it. So
where's my $7 saw?
I don't know what the heck you guys are talking about.
Yes, I've had those emails.
I threw in I took advantage of the personalization line on one of my listings, and they have to comment yes that they understand that their order does not come with a $7 festival domino. And I just, every time I read the yes, I smile ear to ear. I'm like, you may have been smart enough not to need this, but somebody else was not. So
dummies.
For personalization,
it's there for a reason.
I love lasers, and this is where those like semi-portable lasers, like the one that I have in my shop that Dan's never getting back, the laser pecker.
Oh, I'm getting it back.
Are really convenient, because you can literally take it. I had I sold a set of cornhole boards to Buddy, and he bought my very first set of cornhole boards that I ever made for a customer. And this was like way back when. And these things were, by all intents and purposes, they were solid, but they were garbage. Not really, but like in my mind, they were garbage compared
to like what you do now,
what I
right?
offer now. Yeah. And so I got him, and he told me, he's like, dude, I go to tailgating games, or I go to tailgate games, and every single game, somebody's asking either where I got them, how I can get them, or if they can buy them off me. Please make this easier so I don't have to deal with these drunk morons.
Yeah.
And so I told him, like, I could just put my QR code on it, and I put it like underneath in the corner because I didn't want, shameless advertising. I didn't want to like change his experience. And he's like, no. I would have to pick them up and make them do something. Put it on the leg where I don't have to move it. And,
do a card dispenser.
Literally just
push a button, the card pokes out. Ding.
He told me, he's like, dude, just put your name. Before I told him like I could do the QR code, he's like, I could just put your name and your number or your email address. I don't care. Like, just put something there so I can generate some sales for you. And I slapped that laser pecker right on there and hit go, and there's a QR code on it. So
don't say slap laser pecker. Don't do that.
Oh, I slapped the laser pecker.
It's all funny. It's all fun in games until somebody. Never mind.
Slaps the laser pecker.
You said it. All right. So next item, number 13, and this one is great if you're doing holiday markets or if you have some last minute people are like, hey, do you have any more? Stock up on items wherever possible for those last minute shoppers. There's always someone the last 2 weeks when you're like, I'm barely keeping up or whatever, and they're like, hey, do you have any more blah blah blahs? I do. Oh, do you have one like this? No, but I have these in this color. And then they usually will be like, okay, that's fine. So you don't necessarily always have to have what the customer wants, but having a couple extras sometimes is still great because then they'll at least be like, oh, well, I wanted one of those, but you know what? That's great too. So you can still move some of your stock. It's always good to have a couple of extra items because that stuff will just continue into next year. Like I probably have a couple of items that were made for not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. But it's like kind of regular items, like some bottle stoppers. So like every year I'll do a different wood color. So I have like 2 cherry left. And then last year was a lot of walnut. This year we're going to do some maple ones. So I've just been like, I don't know why I never did a whole range of them, but I literally have leftovers from past years and they still sell. I sell walnut ones randomly here or there. I just give them away as gifts. That's actually another good thing. If you need a holiday gift, last minute holiday gift, you're like, oh, good. I still have some coasters left.
I forgot.
Yeah. Your family's like, oh, cool, another cutting board.
Here you go, Nana. He's more coasters.
Listen, everybody talks about like running, like we've been talking about discounts and sales. The last week up to Christmas, I pump my prices up.
Oh, yeah.
I bump them up like 10% because if I've got it in stock and somebody's shopping like 3 days before Christmas, they're desperate.
Yep.
And I don't mean that to like take advantage, but again,
I'm
your
100%
emergency
taking advantage.
Your emergency,
yeah, exactly.
Or I'm sorry, your poor planning is not my emergency, and so they are paying for the availability of that product. So,
right on.
Always good to have a couple extra, just a little something.
Because, like Brayden said, you shouldn't be stressing out, especially that close to Christmas, or even if you don't celebrate Christmas, or if you don't celebrate Christmas specifically, maybe another holiday or none of them. It's still that end of the year. It's like a lot of people get off from work. You want to relax. You want to spend time with your family, or you just want to kick back. So you don't want to be working all the way up until that deadline. It's really hard. And that's number 14. It's self-care and do not burn out. I highly recommend to you guys that you schedule a week off between Christmas and New Year's. None of us will take that full week. But what it will prevent you from doing is booking any stuff that like, oh, I can deliver on the 26th, or the 27th. I'll have some time to like finish it up and get it to you. Don't do that. Give yourself the time. And then if you choose to work on anything, you can. That's one of the best pieces of advice that I got years ago, because one of the first Christmases I did, I was working all the way up till Christmas, doing finishing after Christmas. Cause some people are like, oh yeah, I just need it for like January 2nd for whatever. And I was working all the way up until Christmas, then all the way up until New Year's, and still delivering orders to people by like early January. So don't do that.
I did that last year, even after we did this holiday episode. That was me.
It's rough. But then also you're catching up on Etsy orders still.
Always. I'm always catching up.
Exactly. So give
perpetually
yourself
catching up.
some, some little tender love and care, relax, little R&R, maybe play some video games with the boys or the girls, whatever. And don't just do that for the holidays, for Christmas. Like, do it maybe take off for, Halloween or Thanksgiving weekend. Maybe no shop time.
Also, for like the self-care thing too, if you go to Massage Envy and you use code AWP, you don't get anything off, but it'll be fun to watch you type it in.
Hey, John, we got another one. Get out of here.
Got
Kick
him.
you out. All right, Brayden, you want to take the last one? Number 15?
After following all of these tips, plans, directions, and then you relax for the year, it's time to do number 15, which is evaluate your performance and take your notes for next year, so that next year when we have our Christmas Prepisode, you can look back and be like, oh yeah, they said this last year and this is what happened, and then you can take the new tips and you can adjust those. I feel like Pete, you have just like volumes of data.
No, but I like to. Here's the thing. And again, we're talking all this stuff. This is one of those like do as we say, not as we do, because we are all guilty of ignoring most of this list. And one of the reasons I've been always pushing to start doing this as like a regular yearly thing, somewhere in August and September, we're gonna start doing just like a little review of like, let's get people ready for the holidays. Mainly because I never did, and it just hurts. It hurts to be that tired that late in the year and run out of material and not take care of yourself and not set boundaries and have people be mad at me because I'm trying to start a business or run a business. And also working hard and maybe not succeeding and having a bunch of stock you made that you didn't plan well because you thought it was just going to sell, but like you didn't actually do anything to do it. I've been there. So you want to try to plan ahead and see what sells, see what doesn't. Maybe some ornaments didn't sell at all. Maybe you heard that something did really well and see if this year is going to do well. So put in that work, baby. Just a little
Right on.
work. Yeah. I guess that's it. Well, we got questions. So should we jump into questions now, or you guys got something else to add? Any tips that like you think like we didn't cover, but you're something you do every year, guys?
I'm just gonna throw out one of my favorite things, which goes completely in the face of like we're all makers that build everything with our hands. Don't sleep on wholesale and then customizing.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. If you can't batch out 400 cutting boards, but you know that you can sell them, go to cuttingboards.com or something like that.
That's a real place.
Is it?
I don't know.
It's not the type of content that you'd think though.
What's the one that actually like they do wholesale that you bought from, Brayden?
It's literally an Etsy store that's like
Oh, I thought it was like a website.
No, it's a Etsy store and it's a bulk cutting boards company. Super subtle about what they sell.
Bulk boards. No, they're individual. They're just very beefy boards.
They're pretty thick.
Bulkcuttingboards.com. That's a real place.
Boom.
Yes.
We'll throw that in the show notes too. Dan, do you have any stuff to add?
No, I think this just all goes back to our first line item, which was plan ahead for everything.
Don't you dare not plan ahead. Dan, are you going to plan ahead this year?
I'm trying.
Oh, he's trying.
I just want an A for effort. Okay, that's all I want.
That's not how Etsy grades things, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so why don't we jump into some questions? But before we do, we got to play this.
Oh, Black Betty, ram.
There we go. All right, who's first here? Oh, our good friend Patrick. I'm afraid of turtles. Gensel.
I like turtles.
He does like turtles. Here's Patrick Gensel.
Hey guys, Patrick Gensel here. This question is for Mr. Daniel Dunlap, and I think it's a perfect time for this question because you guys are doing your holiday prep episode. So I'm thinking about selling slide tables, C tables, if you will, and round side tables. Can you give me the exact parameters material cost, what you're selling them for on Etsy, and maybe all your keywords you're using as well, and maybe your description as well. I'd love to have that. I think it's going to make my holiday way easier, and I think that would just be great. So if you could share that with me, I'd really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. I love you. And Peter, drive safe tomorrow. I have the whips and chains ready.
Ooh. Continuity error.
I'll give you all that information for a price. Reach out to me and we'll work something out.
Or what is it? Stop by the shop and I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I know you can trash you online.
I'll give it to you.
Oh.
Oh, my.
Naughty Daniel.
Bring the chains and whips.
All right. Next one is, wait, where is the, oh, do I not have Sarah's question? I thought I did. Donde Esta. Sorry. Thought I had one of them ready, but I guess I did not. All right. So next we're just going to listen to a question from Mitch Hale.
Hey guys, this is Mitch from Horn Dog Maps. I don't have a question today, but I have more of insight into what I do to get prepped for the holiday season. Basically what I do is I look at the previous year's sales between November and January, and I will basically prepare half of the material ahead of time. So if last year I sold 100 maps between November and January, I would prepare enough material to create 50 of them. And I would take my most popular sizes, so that'd be the mediums, the larges, and the extra larges, and have quite a bit of that material on hand. Then I will pre-make a whole bunch of frames in the different colors. So I do walnut, cherry, and just a black, which is made out of maple. So I will have that stuff cut and stained and sealed and ready to go. So that way, when the holiday rush comes in and people start making these orders, all I have to do is load up the laser file, burn their thing, and assemble it and get it out the door. I also need to make sure that I am stocked up on extra expendables such as tape, paint, things like that, and then also shipping materials. So my corner protectors, my boxes themselves, and even rolls of label paper for shipping labels. I'm going to have all of this stuff done and ready to go by the middle of October, give or take, just so that the rush doesn't hit me as hard as it has in the past, because it's a busy time for all of us. That's where some of us make, 30% of your yearly sales is within the last 2 months of the year. So do all of your legwork ahead of time, and you will save yourself a lot of headache at the end of the year.
That was fantastic, Mitch.
Yes.
Great advice.
Thank you for reminding me that I need to buy more labels.
Oh, labels are a good one too. Yeah.
I'm low. I'm looking at it right now and going, oh no.
I mean, actually, on a subject, guys, boxes, labels, wrapping paper, bubble wrap, or peanuts if you use that. What else? Did I say labels already? Probably did.
Yeah.
But don't run out of tape. Don't run out of that box they use a lot. Sometimes you just run out of dumb stuff. And for me, I ran out of the stickers last year that I put on all the boxes that say cool stuff inside or whatever. And that's just my little touch that I put on every box. And I sent out 20 boxes that didn't have it over the holidays. So it's just my own little bummer, but you never know what you're going to run out of. So make sure you have it in stock. Good stuff, Mitch. And I like his whole do 50% of it or make 50% of what you sold last year. That's not a bad idea. Look at your numbers.
Balance.
That's where the preparedness is you're going to sell it. Just make it, right? All right. Here's the question from Sarah. Generated an AI voice yesterday. I don't know if it's the same one, but we'll see. See? Come on.
Labels purchased.
Nice.
These questions all pertain to in-person craft shows. 1. So last year I made as much as I could, but didn't have my own shop, so I bought things wholesale from some friends and sold them. They sold really well, and I'm debating to do them again. What are your thoughts? 2. Do I go ham and make a ton of pens or learn something new with my new machines? I only have maybe an hour through Monday, Friday, each day and Saturday to do stuff. 3. Do I have many diverse items with low count or a lot of the same things for craft shows with high count? 4. Should I pre-make ornaments with what I think they should say, or just have samples and let people pick what they want? But then they are waiting around for it to laser. I can still add customizations. 5. I overdid the craft shows last year and got burnt out and took off January and February. How do I avoid that? I don't think I'm going to sign up for as many shows, but I do enjoy them. Thanks, Girlius. Sarah Goldstein with Rosie's Woodshop.
Good question. So she asked 5 in there. We're going to just rapid fire through all of them. So last year, she wasn't able to make as much because she didn't have a shop set up. She was kind of borrowing time. And she actually bought a bunch of wholesale stuff from makers and kind of resold it. So she got a decent deal on bulk purchases and then resold it, either customizing it or whatever it might be, whether it was cutting boards or pens or trays and things like that. So what are your thoughts on that, guys? Personally, I don't think it's a good move because you're cutting out a lot of your margin.
I would say if it worked, why not? It sounded like it worked for her.
I am such a pro wholesale purchase guy. If you can purchase it and then make your margin on personalization, if you don't have to, you're right. You lose a lot of your margin in not making the product, but you're also getting back time. And so if you're losing $50 of margin with the product, but you're getting an hour and you value your time at $50, it's essentially a net zero cost. And then make up your money on other products, personalization. If you can pump up your volume by doing wholesale, there's a reason that the big companies, they don't need to make their nut on every single piece that they sell. They make it in volume, and wholesale can let you do that.
Yeah. And I was just looking at this bulkcuttingboards.com because I got curious, and you can buy 20 pure walnut cutting boards that are 16 by 10.5 for $625. That equates to about $30 and some change for a cutting board. Not awful.
Yeah, if you're not personalizing like the wood species or something like that, like end of the day for gifts, customers they're not looking to see, did you hand glue every single piece? They want a good cutting board that looks good, that they can give as a gift. And so, I mean, I'll wholesale buy stuff any chance. If the money is right and if the numbers work out, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know it kind of goes against, like, we're makers and we make things, but right.
So here's
we're talking holiday time. I've got all year to be a custom maker. I'm trying to make my volume at the end of the year.
So here's my take on it. I agree and don't agree. So the part I agree with is, like, if I have a realtor client or I need to do a bulk, whatever, 100% get it in bulk. And the part I would say maybe, like, from other makers, like other small maker accounts, like we're all trying to make our nut, as Braden said, like, so for us to discount something, and this isn't necessarily wholesale, like it's like hundreds. It might be like a dozen cutting boards or like 20 pens or something. It might not be as big of a discount. So there's tighter margins on that. But my main thing is, if I had like a realtor job or something where I'm kind of like I'm doing the work and I'm just getting material type of thing, yes. Getting it secondhand and engraving it, customizing it, awesome. For craft shows or when I sell stuff, personally, I need to have my hands on that stuff. Or if it's like a board that I like customize, and a customization is the bigger thing, like the holiday one, maybe. But like for when I'm doing larger cutting boards or whatever, I really like to have been the one to make it. When somebody walks up and they're like, "Oh, did you make this board?" Like, well, no, I get them secondhand, but I engraved it. I put the juice groove in, it's like, and it's more of a personal thing. And I know, like, if I'm just trying to make my buck, then I could just lie and say whatever. But I take a lot of pride in what I make, and maybe that's just a different stance. So, I don't know. That's just my take on it. But the other thing is,
Look at Pete being better than us.
Not better,
Right.
just everyone's got their own takes on it. You know, I want to make all the money I can, but I have some dumb principles that I need to kind of like from my
I'm
brain
looking
to
at this
focus.
as a purely business standpoint. Like, what makes more sense?
Did you know
Monetarily.
you can slap a Made in America logo just like on something,
On anything.
literally just by assembling it here. Like I'm just
You have
here-
a laser,
it's
you
ma-
can
it's-
put "Made in America" with your laser.
my products are made in Little Bug Woodworking, or
Assembled in the
Little
USA.
Bug wood shop. So
All right, so her next question, because she's got a lot, so let's rapid fire through them. Do I go ham and make tons of pens, which she kind of specializes in, does a really good job with pen turning, or learn something new with my new machines? You know, she only has so many hours to work, and my personal take is lean into what you're good at, and if you batch out enough, you'll have time to learn a new thing. But you know, if you know you can 100% lock it down and have awesome pens and a bunch of variety and really good looking stuff, take care of that first before you try to do something that might not work out as well. What do you guys think?
I totally agree. Yeah, I mean now
Yep.
now prepping for the holiday time is not the time to be learning how to do something and perfecting it. Now is the time to batch out product. Next year, try something new.
And,
Agreed.
And then she says, do I have many diverse items with low counts or a lot of the same type of items for the craft shows with a high count?
Whichever one, honestly, whichever one's going to mathematically work out to the
Yeah.
most margin is what I would do.
You can just, I mean, you can be the pen turning or the pen hand turn pens or lathe turn pens table at the craft fair and do really well. You don't need to also have cutting boards and trays and whatever, you know. It's always good to have a little bit of everything, but like specializing is not bad. You can make some good money with that. And then she was asking if should I pre-make ornaments with what they say, or should I like have samples or like completely pre-make them or customize them on site? And I think there's no wrong answer on this, right? Like, do you guys think that she should make a bunch that are like Merry Christmas or something?
I think there's a lot of value to all of the options. I personally, I'd batch out a bunch of them and just have them ready to go. Because at the end of the day, like Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, like all that stuff. That's what people are looking for in a lot of them. And if you utilize the back as like, hey, this is where I can personalize it. Like I can put the Smith family 2024,
Whatever you want.
whatever. Yeah. Then you just basically you set up your grids with your laser and you can customize them pretty quick. You don't have to lose that time. But grab and go stuff, people are looking for like ho ho ho, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan.
Especially on site with a portable laser, which I know she has. That's money.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a message on Etsy that's really frazzled me.
I know where
yes,
you live.
Yes to whatever Braden said. No, I just shipped out. I know this is like completely what we're not talking about, but I just shipped out.
Let's do it.
I just shipped out 2 tables to Washington, and they both showed up cracked.
Oh
like
no!
big significant cracks.
Handy Dandy Brandy just had something similar happen with one of her tables, and it showed up
Yeah,
like snapped. That's a bummer.
And we all know that USPS is lovely to deal with
it's
shipping
it's
refunds.
It's
Yep.
UPS.
Just do.
Oh, UPS, which is another one that's fun to deal with.
Well, at least you're not having to do a chargeback against the federal government this way. Yeah.
Actually, I wonder. Well, that's a good question. Sorry, Sarah, we're putting yours on hold for a sec. If the customer files, isn't there like some protection for like damaged items? Can't she file with Etsy to get a refund, but Dan doesn't get hit?
I think
there's a $250 limit. This is like $800 in tables.
Gotcha.
So
Yikes.
Oh, worse.
And I mean that just depends on like how you shipped it and if it had insurance. I mean, if nothing else, I think most of them come with $100. Or is that?
yeah, but that's not going to rectify the tables that this person ordered. I mean, that's not going to fix her tables.
No, but
So I'm probably just going to have to
eat some costs and reship.
Yeah, just redo it.
I mean, see how much of the cost you can recoup. Should be good. But yeah, I mean, even
I'm
if
just going to ship her new tables.
yeah,
period.
dang, that's such a bummer. Well, hey, if anyone else has any experience with that, with getting damaged items and how you handled it, reach out to Dan, because it's good to know. We're learning too sometimes. Like, if you don't have a lot of these incidents and you've dealt with it, please let us know, because I would love to hear about it, or call in.
I always try to go overboard with the packaging because I know that they just toss these around.
I know.
Like, what the hell happened to get these giant cracks? It's
unreal. Let's be honest, like sheer volume, it sucks, but it's just kind of bound to happen just based on the volume that you do, man.
Yeah, I know. It's really disappointing.
Well, we'll get it figured out. Okay, so question number 5 of Sarah's was one that I love because she's asked us a couple times. I overdid the craft shows last year and got burnt out and took off January and February. How do I avoid that? She doesn't think she's going to sign up for as many shows, but she likes doing them. And we've talked about like self-care. So Pete, what have we got?
See number 15, evaluate performance and take notes for next year.
Yeah.
Whichever show sucks, don't go there.
Right.
Yeah. Like I do like one craft fair now a year. We have the little farm here, Tranquility Farm, where I met Sarah, where I met her, and that's how she got introduced to the maker community. We did a winter event. We both did bonkers numbers. Great stuff. We had a great time, made good money. Then we did the spring event. Lost money because we bought too much food and then didn't even recuperate what we made. It just depends, even the same location, but different time of year, it will perform differently. So look how you did last year. And I told you to take notes last year. So I hope you did. And just like you said, don't sign up for the ones that did bad.
It's my experience, and I think Braden can agree with this. The craft fairs in the fall up to the new year, those are the ones that are going to do the best because people are in the mindset of gift buying.
Mm-hmm.
So I would completely ignore.
Also, do a little research on where or how this is, where it's presented, what kind of event it is, because I'm pretty sure we've all gone to an event that was like, oh, this seems like an important thing, but then it turns out it was like in a high school auditorium, but like it's the main event is somewhere across the school and people might come visit. You want to be the event that people are going there for, like not just you, but the actual craft fair. And I think Sarah went to a couple like that too, where it was like the makers were the afterthought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the ones that didn't do well, don't do them. Don't waste your time. And I mean, soapbox, spring craft fairs are a money racket. Like it's a money grab. That's what they are. Because most places will require, if they have a spring and a fall, if you do the fall, you want to re-sign up, they force you to do the spring one.
That's dirty.
It's disgusting and I hate it. And I'd rather if they need to bump up my ticket, like my entry for the fall, just to include that money, like just tell me and I'll pay it so I don't have to waste a weekend. I mean, the only saving grace to spring craft fairs in my mind is I get to spend the day with Dan and Nick. And that's it. Like I'm paying to hang out with my boys and
such a flirt.
I am. I'm a tease. But yeah, spring craft fairs, like it's a money grab, but pick the ones that you want to do. Don't burn yourself out. Like this, none of this is worth it if you're dead for the next 3 months after, because that's like follow-up time that you could be doing custom stuff and learning new stuff. Like that's growth period right there. And you don't want to be dead for that.
Yeah. Sarah, honestly, do whatever craft fairs you can. Make capital that will fund your woodworking with your new tools as you're learning how to use them and do new items. Fund you for the next couple of months. So the January, February, and on isn't I had to take time off. It's my learning time. It's when I started to work on new things that were exciting and I did no client work. Because honestly, it's great to just be like, make a little money and then you can kind of like float for a little bit. It's worth it. Speaking of what you were talking about, Braden, Nick Brim, we got a question from him.
My favorite Brim.
What's up, fellow Oma Bros? I'm wondering how deep of a hole I need to dig. I currently have room for one Patrick. Do I need room for more? But seriously, I have a question about holiday prep and inventory versus custom built. Do you guys prep more inventory to sell or go for more custom listings? And where do you draw your inspiration for your inventory? And which one of Dan's listings should I steal to create my inventory?
I'll be quick with this one. For me, it's inventory. I try to stay away from custom stuff around the holidays now. I try to avoid it as much as I can. Anytime you can just pull it off a shelf or pull it off your table and hand it over, it's way better. So that's where I lean on, and definitely look into the bed frames because you just deactivated the listing and see if you can sell some locally.
Please.
Yeah, that'd be great.
New bed frames for sure.
New bed frames.
As a matter of fact, I even have one that you can start off your
it's halfway done.
Career with
Some assembly required.
Hey, but Sarah, we've got a wholesale product that you can purchase.
Well, Dan, what do you recommend?
Yeah, we already talked about it. Do stuff that you could stock in inventory, like Pete said. Do the bed frames, please. I'm begging you. I have nothing else to add. Pete nailed it. Braden.
You know what? I'm gonna go against the grain. Do full custom all holiday season long. Don't try and optimize like just every single order is its own order. So that I can get more sales in the local market. Stock up inventory. Like the holiday time is not the time to be like testing out a bunch of stuff. Figure out how to customize so that you can you can grow sales and outsell Target or Walmart or whoever.
Ooh, good luck with that.
And okay, outsell, yeah, maybe survive against, but figure out the easiest, fastest way that you can personalize and customize and make that your selling point, and leave the big custom work. Leave it for January. That's what it's for.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where we're at.
Ditto, Trito. Last one, I think one more, right? Oh, Alex Adams from Taipei Furniture.
Guy loves his pad thai.
Hey guys, it's Alex at Taipei Furniture, and my question for you guys is, about placing my router sled somewhere that I can use it all year round easily. Because right now, the frame lives outside, then I just bring the router out with the cross sled and use it whenever I need to. But with winter coming up, the elements are a little bit more harsh and it's a little more difficult to use outdoors. And my basement shop area isn't really conducive for it because if I'm doing large pieces, it's hard to get them up the stairs, so it's kind of a no-go there. And then the detached garage, I had ordered the drum sander that's going to be going in there and a couple of other things. So putting it in there seems to, make that a little bit more of a tight squeeze. But there is a spot behind my garage that I can potentially use. And I did come across some carports they're basically 10 foot by 20 foot. And they're not just covered on the top, but they actually have the sides covered in. And so I'm curious about your guys' thoughts about maybe potentially going that route, because it's relatively inexpensive and I don't need to insulate it. I just need it to be protected from the elements. So I'm curious about your thoughts on maybe some of the pros and cons of doing that and maybe some other ideas that you may have.
So, Alex, I will say that based on my knowledge of the Nebraska ecosystem that I've learned from Dan and Braden is that it is sometimes it hails, sometimes it blows, sometimes it sucks, sometimes it tornadoes, and sometimes it snows a lot, and then also there's hail again. So I don't want to say that like not a fabric, but like, those tarp carport things is I think it's a great idea, but I think it's something that might take a lot of damage depending on the season. Yeah. And I'm a little worried that, you might leave your setup, out underneath it because it's protected, but one bad storm and your sled is rusted or the slab is, warped from water or whatever. I think it might be more conducive to maybe do like a lean-to, like some kind of actual roof over it. But I mean, you guys live in the area a little more. What do you think?
I wouldn't do anything of the sort. If the place I had wasn't insulated some way, I mean, you have to insulate because the high humidity we get here in the summer will warp the crap out of anything that's left out in the elements.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do something a little bit more durable than a tarp, I guess.
Yeah. Just do what you're thinking, but like completely different. Pretty much.
Do what you're thinking, but don't.
All right. Well, I will say I'll give them the benefit of a doubt. Let's say he just wants to, like right now, he still does it outside. He just does it out in the elements, and if it's raining, he can't do it. All right. If you want to do something like that, do the double canopy. You know, like regular canopies that we all have for craft fairs and stuff. There's a double canopy of that you can get. It's 20 feet long, and it's, you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up, but like use something like that, but then take it down when you're not using it.
I would take it down. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I would take it down nightly. I wouldn't leave it outside overnight ever.
So you're on the right track, I think. Right, Braden?
Yes.
I agree with whatever Braden's going to say.
Braden, so what do you think? What are your thoughts, Braden?
I mean, I don't like the tarp idea. Our weather's too wild. Did he say that he had an option to take it down into a basement and it was just not convenient? Is that what I
mean, putting a slab down the stairs is not convenient.
Yeah. I don't, and he works with big slabs.
Oh, wait, what about like, because he has a shop space right now, right? Or is it in his basement?
He has got a garage. Okay. I think it's a single bay.
Don't some people have like situation? The ones where they lower, like it's like a permanent flattening thing that they just elevate into the ceiling?
He's gonna hate this because it's Big Jeep. Big Jeep is at it again. I did build what essentially was a flattening like apparatus if I had been woodworking with it, but it was a hardtop hoist. So yeah, you could get like one of those Harbor Freight cranks and like crank this sucker to the ceiling when it's that way, it's out of the way. And if you anchor it correctly, you could leave a slab on it, gain some storage that way.
Yeah.
And the best part is it's not a tarp out in a tornado.
Yeah. It's a slab above your head while you're working. And there's a very low chance of it falling on your head.
We don't get earthquakes.
I hate that. There's no good options. There's no great options. There's just a bunch of okay options.
Move to Omaha, partner with Dan, bigger shop space for both of you. I solved it. And also see us next week for World Hunger.
I'm starting to think that Braden's got a warehouse space that he's been sitting on. And one day he's just going to be like, hey, Dan, I found a space. And he's just looking for a tenant. He's just been building it up. Well, speaking of tenants, we were done with the show. That was a terrible transition.
Get out. We need to turn it for the next renters.
Yeah, guys, let's get out of this unit and get into the next one. Next week we have an exciting guest. Braden.
Yeah, we've got Mike. We've got Mike Suter he's another local guy for us. But he is the man, the myth, the legend behind two accounts. The Woodworker versus Cancer is his account, and his cool backstory is that he's essentially sold furniture and donates every single penny to St. Jude's, which is dope. And then last year on another audio experience, an idea was born for woodwork makers for St. Jude, which is a maker community involvement event, year-round thing that has got is raising money for St. Jude's through a bunch of makers and raffles, and there's prizes and there's corporate sponsors and jackets with all the brand names on it, like NASCAR. But yeah, so he's going to be on next week, and we're going to probably talk about his story. And I would be shocked if we don't get into Makers for St. Jude for just a second.
Yeah, we might touch up on it, or it might be the entire episode.
Yeah. So we got Mike Suter next week. So
I'm looking forward to just sitting back and letting Mike do all the talking.
Mike's a chatty guy. You guys think I'm chatty? Mike's a chatty guy, and I love it about him.
And we're gonna get more into it in next week's episode, but they did just launch a Makers for St. Jude childhood cancer challenge with about $4,000 in prizes. So including 2 tickets to Workbench Con, which is coming up in a couple months. Yeah. So we'll talk more about it, next week, but man, they already hit 2 of their goals this year. and he just keeps crushing it. And it's nothing but good, guys. It's nothing but good. And yeah, I'm excited to have him on. He's great. I feel like I haven't gotten enough time with him because you guys keep hoarding him over there in Omaha.
That's right. Yeah.
The worst.
I'm not looking to share.
Yeah. Well, Dan, you want to shout us out or take us out with
let me take us out. We're out of here. Goodbye. Oh wait, no.
There's more, but wait, there's more.
Look, first of all, we want to thank CNC with me and Hamilton Dilbeck for being the sponsor of this episode. We appreciate you. If you are interested in that, go to cncwithme.com. That link will be in the show notes. I'm sure of it. Also want to give a shout out to our patrons. Without you guys, this ship doesn't float. This thing doesn't do the thing. And we appreciate you guys. We couldn't do it without you. That's it.
That was it. That was great. Very eloquent, very demure, very mindful.
I was chatting with the person that messaged me, and I think we're good.
Chat GPT.
I mean, I told her I'm going to replace the tables, but
okay.
And she said, "Not up in here."
Like, ma'am, you can
really
just
heartbreaking.
Fire pit. Yeah, it sucks.
I'll show you the
Wait,
pictures. They're really damaged. It's like they must have threw the box across the warehouse. Like,
Hold on. You said they're in Washington?
yeah.
Have Kamani do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much would it cost to, like, one, where is she at, and two, we have some makers up there. What would it take to get them to one of them to just repair it?
Oh no, these are unrepairable. I'll show you the pictures. They're beyond repairing. I don't want them repaired. I want her to have good new tables.
Well, in that case,
but yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. I could probably send the files to Kamani and
outsource.
Have him hand deliver them, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd have to pay him.
These are from Nebraska. I just look winded when he hands them over. Did you run here?
I don't know. That might be an option. I don't know how close he is. That'd be awesome if she like lived down the block.
It is Kamani. It's Kamani's fake Etsy profile, and he's just like trying to get your files information, and sizes and stuff.
Probably.
Patrick.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Well,
Patrick.
Anyway,
there's a conspiracy against me. I'm sure of it.
There definitely is.
All right.
Well,
bye.
I guess this is the part that finally ends because we are done, and let's go.
This is the podcast that finally ends.
Love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Bye. 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 Bye.
Love you a long time.